Well, everyone, I hope you didn't pick the over. The under on this game because another high-scoring game for the Arizona Coyotes, a 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. We'll talk about that, what went down, and how they got this win, all on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the live show, Postgame live show, everyone. I am Robyn, Leaño, Carl Pavlock right beside me. In this postgame show, Arizona Coyotes with a 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Based off the title, what you're seeing from when you're tuning in, either via YouTube or via Twitter or via Facebook, a hat trick for Johan Larsson. That's the one way to start things off. A 6-4 win. Carl, you predicted the Coyotes would win. You weren't extremely confident, but you said they would win. But you didn't think. I don't think either of us. Obviously, we said easily under. But
I said 2-1, so this is the complete opposite of that. Let's go down the list of things. This was the first time the Coyotes have had a 2-goal lead this season. This is the first time the Coyotes have had a 3-goal lead this season. This is the first time the Coyotes scored an empty net goal this season.
And let's also go on the side of.
Hang on, wait. One thing, just for posterity, we are, 31 or 2 games into this season?
What game was that?
32. This was the 32nd game of the NHL season, and the Coyotes are, for the first time, having their first 2-goal lead, their first 3-goal lead, their first empty net goal. It's insane, and it's beautiful. I loved it.
I mentioned Larsson's hat trick, and in the game, it wasn't only his first goal, but his second goal and his third goal of the season,
and his first career hat trick. It was the first time Travis Boyd has hit 8 goals in his career.
What is happening?
I tweeted at you and the Lockdown_Coyotes account that this is just history being made. And the entire time, it's a very specific reference, but I have from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, there's just a scene where a character's like, history is being changed forever! And it was that, just every second of this game.
And when you first posted Coyotes when they got the 2-goal lead and then it got erased right away, it was from 2-0 to 2-2. I was like, "This is all your fault. This is all your fault."
Yeah, and I was fully prepared to accept that blame. And then the Coyotes just decided that this is one of the crazy goals, out of nowhere games. I did not expect this to be, like we mentioned all this week, like the Sharks game, like the Ducks game, where it's just high offense. It kind of came out of nowhere because these are teams that have played.
Not only that, we're talking about a team in which they're what most of their games average 1.5 goals a game. This Arizona Coyotes team, they barely score. So where is this offense coming from on these games?
Yeah, and Chicago also has not been scoring lately. So where was their offense coming from? I love it when teams just decide to give up defensively. Although I don't necessarily think that was the case. There was quite a few just lucky bounces this entire game. My favorite wow moment was the Strome assist. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I said I want him to find offense outside of this game, and he just had an insane assist. That made me smile. it was a good day for former Coyotes and Coyotes prospects because Mackenzie and Whistle.
Yeah, exactly. That's and it just made things just made me think too. Just like, oh, why is it? Why are these games the way they are? It was just was it an exciting game? Yeah. Was it a I think the way you said it before we went on the air. This was a dumb game though.
It
Like
was.
it's like what, how, why, when?
I think it was just like two bad teams like slamming together in the most fun way I can imagine.
Yeah. Pretty much because we did not expect a high scoring game because again, like we mentioned, just both these teams are pretty freaking bad. They have no offense. Um and I at least have a mild amount of respect for the goaltenders that are in net for both sides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I thought Marc-Andre Fleury made some like point blank saves. The Coyotes definitely had fewer shots on goal than the Blackhawks. Vejmelka made some big saves,
oh my god. Karel
which
Vejmelka, like flashing that glove and doing some of the stuff he did, like, oh my god, that dude is
absolutely, which again was a bit of a surprise. I think we thought Wedgwood would get the start for this one.
we did. I mean, Daily Faceoff did project it was going to be Karel Vejmelka. Obviously, it said unconfirmed. You and I thought it would have been more likely to be Wedgwood, but
Yeah,
it looks like they made the right call in putting Veggie in there because
absolutely. Yeah. And I think like when we were talking about that call, when we were saying Vejmelka, we were talking about like what Tournier has done in the past, what would be like kind of the most likely scenario. But I mean, there's plenty of things that could have happened at practice. Maybe he just like looked really good. Maybe Tournier wanted to make sure that he just like had that positive boost for getting that start. Whatever reason, it was absolutely the right call to make because he looked good like, despite the score being like, I think we all know hockey coaches hate a 6-4 game. Like, that means a lot of things went wrong. Even though we love it, like, he gave up 4 goals. He still looked phenomenal.
I mean he looks like Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah. And Fleury, like, despite giving up 5, like him on Kessel, him on Keller a couple times, like there were some really good saves on that end too.
Yeah, and also a lot of bad saves too on Fleury's side on that on for tonight's game because I'll be showing it in the next segment in a little bit, but he let in some shots from all over the ice.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit though as we get through the stats in the next segment. So we will get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to let you guys know that it's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, just make sure you guys include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. It's easier to stick to a resolution with Built Bar because it tastes so good you want to eat it. Unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy, and maybe even taste like chemical spill. Here's the best part: is you guys obviously probably love a lot of chocolate. I know I love my chocolate, so Built Bars are the good thing because they are covered in 100% chocolate. They're low in calories, low in sugar, low in carbs, high in protein. All the things that you want out of a good protein bar. On top of course, tasting delicious in a bunch of different flavors: coconut, almond, raspberry, cookies and cream, all of such. I want you guys to try it out yourself. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. Once again, that's the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Okay, so let's keep going on this topic of Coyotes' 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's talk about some of the players who contributed. And we talked about Johan Larsson getting a hat trick. But let's also look and say Dyson Mayo got himself a goal in there as well.
Yeah.
JJ Mosier got 2 assists.
Yeah. Mayo with a very nifty goal. I loved his confidence coming in from like the point down to the face-off circle and just firing it home. Mosier's looked great. I tweeted out that someone was talking about getting a JJ Mosier jersey, and I recommended getting the Tucson Roadrunners Kachina jersey because they are not going to have any next year for JJ Mosier. He seems like he is going to break out this season. And if not this season, I do predict he'll be next season.
Plus the purple trim on the Kachina Roadrunners jerseys. It's just so freaking beautiful.
It's a good looking jersey, and I don't know how much longer they're going to make them. I don't know the AHL rules for jersey printing either. So, like, pick them up now because
I mean, I probably got my Connect, so I could do it however I want. But
sure, not everyone's you. but Mosier looked great. Coyotes got a lot of good offense from their defense. Because Gossesbear also had 2 assists in the game.
Yes, he did. Gossesbear, some of the assists that he got looked good. I want to also put out a huge shout out to Phil Kessel's assist that he had. He just, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because the kind of player he is, but the feeds to the center, they're just so freaking amazing.
Yeah, he has looked really good, and it is very kind of. It's interesting to see this year, like Kessel play this year, because he looks like a very different player. He seems more willing to like do the assists and not like kind of be selfish. I thought his goal, or his assist on the Boyd goal was just phenomenal. Like the fact that he just found him right in front of the net looked great. And also, let's talk about Travis Boyd. A goal and 2 assists, like a 3-point night for Travis Boyd. Like, don't see that every day.
No, you don't. That's what I like about games like this. You just see things that are absolutely out of the blue. 4 different players scoring today. Obviously, Johan Larsson with the hat trick, Travis Boyd, Clayton Keller, and Dyson Mayo. All 6 of these goals, Carl, from a different spot on the ice. I'm going to bring up the heat map to show you exactly what I mean. Take a look at this. All from a different spot.
All I can say is when I write the recap of this tomorrow morning, it's going to be fun to just rewatch those goals because they were crazy goals. Like, I loved every single one of them. They looked great.
Yeah, and I think one of the ones close to the point, what I think was Mosier's shot that got deflected.
Oh yeah, deflected off of Larsson.
Off of Larsson, yeah. So Larsson can thank Mosier.
Yeah. It's fitting that in what may be Larsson's only NHL career hat trick. Knock on wood, he'll get another one. Actual wood desk, by the way. But knock on wood, he'll get another. And one of the goals was like a deflection off. I think it was like his shoulder or his neck. It looked really high, but just great to see it. I'll take it any way I can get it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the other things that would happen. Obviously, scoring is awesome, but penalties, special teams, everything like that was all over the place. You have some stats you want to share about that side?
Oh, I do, yes. Hang on. Let me grab it real quick. So this is coming from Ben Pope on Twitter. There's 10 combined power plays in this game, 5 aside. 4 of them have been delayed of game. I don't know if that was the final penalty count because there was mid-game or late in the game when you tweeted that, but theirs was definitely a lot of delay of game calls, puck over the glass. It was horrible.
And I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier this season. Delay of game is kind of one of those stupid penalties to take. There was a couple cases in which it's a smart move to do.
Yeah.
But next to too many men on the ice, it is one of those stupid penalties to take. So that's what made this game, although the Coyotes won, extremely dumb.
And I have like thoughts about a lot of those delay of games too, because I thought the first one from Keller may have been like a possible deflection. It had gotten to the point with the Strawman one late in the game where there had been a few missed calls where I'm like, they're not going to call anything else in this game. And I was getting ready to tweet that because there had been like 2 missed calls. Strawman immediately like knocks it over the glass. I'm like, except for that, they're always going to call that. They can't not call that. But you could tell the referees were like, oh, I don't want to call anything. You're going to make me call something.
I'm taking a look at on this right now. So 10 penalty minutes aside. Man.
And the Coyotes had 2 power play goals. What?
That's the crazy one right there.
Yeah.
The fact that the Coyotes actually had power play offense? Like, what?
I mean, especially after that first one, I'm like, man, do we... I don't think this is going to be good. And then I think it was like the second one. And I'm like, what is happening? And then we get the beautiful challenge goal, penalty, power play goal, 2-goal lead. I could not script that better. That was just a beautiful series of events that we never see because the Coyotes have a horrible power play.
That's what really baffled me because I'm just like, where was this Coyotes? I mean, yes, again, we're talking Chicago Blackhawks here still, but we're still like, okay, why couldn't we see this kind of Coyotes power play offense elsewhere?
Yeah,
against other, at least mediocre teams.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, the Winnipeg Jets have a worse penalty kill than the Coyotes, which is saying something because the Coyotes is very bad, but they were still not able to get anything going. And yet the Chicago Blackhawks, with Marc-Andre Fleury in net, are able like give up 2. Like, what is up with that? I honestly have no clue. Hockey's a fun sport for that kind of thing.
Because it's so unexpected. You don't like. It's like, oh, you don't expect a freaking hockey to throw this kind of game at us. It's just what.
Nobody expected this game, and we know that because we read the odds for this. Like the people who like make money directly off of how hockey games are going to end up, like came up with very different predictions of what would happen in this.
I mean, same thing was with the San Jose game as well.
Yeah. I mean, at least with the San Jose game, like you could fall back on that rust excuse. Like they were just 2 rusty teams. I don't think these were like rust issues. I think it was a lot of dumb puck luck and just I don't know. A lot of dumb puck luck.
Absolutely. Arizona Coyotes once again take a 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Give the Chicago Blackhawks their 6th straight loss. Meanwhile, the Coyotes finally back on the winning column after losing their last 2. So we still got more to get to on this show. We're going to talk some, get some final thoughts in this game. Plus, also talk some other roster updates and stuff that happened before the game that also came up that we probably should talk about. All of that coming up in just a sec, but first a quick word from Carl.
So, BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today, and you can receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, so let's finish things off here on Locked On Coyotes. Once again, Robyn, Leaño, and Carl Pavlock. As we continue to break down Arizona Coyotes' 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Before the game, Carl, there were a couple roster moves, or at least roster announcements, that had to be made. One was an injury update to one Jay Beagle, and then a claim off the waiver wire. So let me go ahead and you have the info. So go ahead and share it with us.
Of course. So I first saw this from Craig Morgan. Coyotes GM Bill Armstrong said center Jay Beagle, lower body injury, had surgery, and will miss anywhere from 8 weeks to the rest of the season. And then I'm not sure when that was announced. I think it was almost immediately after it was announced that the Coyotes had claimed forward Riley Nash from the waiver wire. He has played for both the Winnipeg Jets and Tampa Bay Lightning this season. 15 games with the Jets, 10 with the Lightning. 0 points, 0 assists in all of those games. -1 for both teams, so -2 collectively. Which I will admit I haven't seen much of the Riley Nash highlights this year, but then maybe signals solid defensive pickup. It's a move that makes sense with Beagle being out potentially for the rest of the year.
It just makes me think it's crazy, though. Obviously, Beagle out for the rest of the year, and you have like 3 other players who are out for long term.
I mean, you have Yashkin out for the rest of the year. You have Connor Timmins out for the rest of the year. Is there someone else who's facing long term?
Zingel's still on the IR.
Zingel's still on the IR. I don't think we've heard too much about what his timeline is. I'm saying mid-January. But yeah, it's Jay Beagle.
Brendan Hutton's still out there too.
Of course, yeah. Hutton, who looks like he's anticipated to be mid-January. Beagle, like he won faceoffs. He provided veteran leadership. The Coyotes kind of like need warm bodies. They've taken a lot from the Tucson Roadrunners. I kind of don't think they want to take any more. They don't want to interfere with like the development of these players. They don't want to put like Jan Unique in the Lions' den for another 49 games, 50 games. So the move made sense.
And because of this, it makes me believe to not be surprised if the Arizona Coyotes make more waiver wire pickups if necessary. Because like what you were mentioning, you don't want to overstretch the Roadrunners.
Of course, yeah.
Because the Roadrunners are already missing a lot of their guys.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Coyotes' first waiver acquisition of the year was Scott Wedgwood, so that clearly worked out well for them. For a team like the Coyotes, who are just in a position where, let's face it, the bar is very low, so anything they can get, it's going to be better than what they have. And I understand the team's tanking, but you don't want to lose every game, and they can still stand to improve. It'll still benefit the young players to have like a couple more wins, even if it potentially hurt their like lottery odds by like a couple percentage points. Like, don't do that to your young talent.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to overstretch them. You don't want to stress them the hell out. Yeah. You want to make sure they're comfortable as possible during the course of this rebuild to make sure that when it is time to emerge, everyone is ready.
Yeah. You want to make sure they're ready. Like, honestly, like seeing Connor Murphy is one of those like cases where I thought he was being rushed by the Coyotes when he was here. I thought it made him a not great player, but he has developed into a very good defenseman with the Chicago Blackhawks. I credit that organization to really upping his game. And I don't want to see the Coyotes repeat any mistakes that they've made in prior failed rebuilds. I don't want them to rush people.
Well, I obviously we can't say whether or not definitively that's going to be the case. However, different personnel this time around. We'll see if that changes. We'll see if Bill Armstrong and Andre Tourné are smart.
Yeah.
So far, it seems like they're playing as smart.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I mean,
very different than Tocchet and Chayka, but
you got the fact that Prosvetov and Soderstrom are both in the AHL right now. I think kind of it's not definitive that they're going to play all of this smart, but it's a good hey, they're doing the right moves so far.
This was the big thing that we were talking about over the summer, I think, when they made all the trades and when it became pretty much official that they were completely rebuilding and starting from scratch. Which, and I think it was Craig Morgan that said it when he came on the show during that time. He's like, Bill Armstrong gets essentially get and I'm paraphrasing him here, gets essentially an A+ for setting up this rebuild.
Yeah,
it's how he executes it from this point on is what he's really going to be judged on.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, I think as we saw in this game, the first period, it's great, and if you make the right moves in the first period, it's fine. But that doesn't change what happens in the second year. It doesn't change what happens in the third year. So, the next few steps are going to be huge. They're doing the right things now, and you hope they continue to do the right things. But it's you don't get to rest on your laurels during a rebuild.
Nope, especially on a complete deep rebuild, as deep as the Coyotes are going in.
So deep. The complete destruction of this team during a very tense moment. Just kind of you need to do this one right.
If there's one thing I will say, as I mentioned before, if there's a time to rebuild, it's during this time when you have a pandemic keeping the salary cap low.
Yeah, that's true. And that just also contributes to a lot of moves. And I do think the reason the Coyotes are able to pick up waiver wires is teams are shedding salary as well.
And the Coyotes have still so much space even after doing all the pickups and whatever.
Yeah. I honestly haven't started preparing for it yet, but the back half of the season, which we're very rapidly approaching, is going to be very busy and very different for the Coyotes for a very different reason, because they are going to be busy.
Oh, they're going to be busy for a lot of moves, a lot of continuing to see for the rebuild. So be prepared, Coyotes fans. You might not like some of the stuff that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Just be ready for it, because obviously the shame for Shane, fight for right campaign continues. Because come on, I know you guys want him. I know you guys want Shane Wright.
Yeah. Tonight was fun. Just be prepared for more pain. It's going to be pain. But that pain will eventually lead to something. Probably, yeah. Time is cyclical. As this game taught us, there was so many just callbacks to previous games against the Blackhawks, former players, teams, the earlier parts of the game. Time's a flat circle, as Matthew McConaughey once told us.
Absolutely. Also, I'm just seeing a scoring change update real quick before we close things off. One of the call it. Yeah, so one of the goals that had Giannis Mosier's assist is essentially now taken. So on the third goal for the Arizona Coyotes, Mosier no longer has the assist on that one.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like it's Travis Boyd from Ladden Castle. Interesting. I had mentioned the Kessel pass to Boyd. I guess Ladd was involved in that somehow. Didn't see it live. Either way, Mosier played a great game, and at least they didn't take away Johan Larsson's hat trick, because that was very scary. When you mentioned that there was a scoring change of like, don't take away Larsson's hat trick. That's me.
No, but just don't do it that way. I don't think.
No, don't play him like that.
No. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for today's episode of Locked On Coyotes, the post-game live episode, talking about the Arizona Coyotes' 6-4 win over the Chicago Blackhawks. Hope you guys all like what you heard today. If you did, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We are available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leaño, but it's Robyn with a Y _LEANO. Carl Pavlock is Carl Pavlock FFH. Interact with us, ask the question that you might have, and we can answer them either right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in for today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.